Caitlin Clark just called the new WNBA deal disgraceful. The league's brightest star isn't backing down, and now a player strike looms over the 2025 season. The stakes? Possibly losing everything the WNBA has built. This isn't just about basketball. This is a battle for respect, equity, and the league's survival. A league at the breaking point. The tension in the WNBA has hit a boiling point, and it all exploded when Caitlin Clark, the face of the league's current revolution, didn't just criticize the league's new collective bargaining proposal. She torched it. She called it disgraceful. And that word shook the foundation of the league. Clark isn't just any rookie. She's already transformed the economics of women's basketball. She's the reason ticket prices have soared. She's driving sold-out arenas, sponsorships, and TV ratings the WNBA hasn't seen in decades. Her impact is measurable in dollars, in fans, and in influence. So when she speaks, the league listens. Or at least, it should. The problem? The deal on the table right now doesn't reflect any of that momentum, and players, rookies, and veterans alike are furious. For the first time in decades, the WNBA is facing a real possibility of a player strike, and the 2025 season, it could be delayed, or even canceled altogether. The risk of collapse. It's hard to overstate how fragile the WNBA's momentum really is. Just a few years ago, people were still questioning whether the league could even break even. Today, it's in a moment of unprecedented growth. But losing a single season right now? That could set the league back years. Fans are finally tuning in. Sponsors are finally writing checks. TV deals are expanding. A labor stoppage, especially one led by its biggest star, might rattle those foundations beyond repair. And there's historical precedent for how bad that could be. Back in 2003, the WNBA narrowly avoided a strike when players threatened to walk out over contract negotiations. But the league was a very different beast then, much smaller, much less visible, and bringing in way less revenue. Now, with stars like Clark, Angel Reese, and Aja Wilson at the forefront of pop culture, and with ticket sales and merchandise on a sharp rise, the league is much more exposed. More to gain, but way more to lose. The commissioner's tightrope. So what does the league think about all this? WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert has been promoting the league's growth publicly, and to be fair, she's not wrong. The 2025 season is set for 40 games, the most ever. There's a brand new expansion team coming to Toronto in 2026, and TV rights are finally bringing in real cash. But critics and players say the league is moving far too slowly when it comes to sharing that wealth. Here's the reality. Most WNBA players still make shockingly low base salaries. Even top-tier stars often earn less than $250,000 a year from the league. Compare that to the NBA, where benchwarmers can pull in over $1 million per season. Clark has made it clear she wants the WNBA to become a year-round career. Right now, many players still rely on overseas leagues in Turkey, China, or Russia just to survive financially. It's exhausting. It's risky, and it shouldn't be necessary in a league that's now pulling in hundreds of millions of dollars. The WNBPA isn't staying quiet either. Nneka Ogwumike, the current players' union president, and veteran star Chelsea Gray have both been vocal about how outdated and insufficient the current system is. The WNBA argues that they're still growing, still figuring out the financial model, and still dependent on NBA backing. Engelbert has said the league is committed to improving compensation over time. But time is the problem. Patience is wearing thin. Caitlin Clark's stand. So why is Caitlin Clark at the center of this? Because she's the one player who can move the needle right now. Her college games at Iowa drew higher ratings than the men's Final Four. Her rookie season in the WNBA has already become a television goldmine. Every game she plays brings in sponsors, fans, and coverage that the league desperately needs. So when Clark calls the proposed deal disgraceful, she's not just complaining, she's leading. Some critics have said she should stay in her lane, that she's too new, that veterans like Nneka Ogwumike or Breanna Stewart should be the ones fronting the union. But that misses the point. Clark isn't acting alone. She's stepping into a movement that's been building for years. The WNBPA, led by experienced vets, fully supports her. They know that her voice carries massive weight in the current media landscape. She's not just fighting for herself. She's using her platform to spotlight issues that have been swept under the rug for far too long. This isn't about ego, it's about equity, a wider battle in women's sports. This moment in the WNBA isn't isolated. Across the board, women's sports are having a cultural breakthrough. The NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament outrated the men's in 2024. Gymnastics icon Simone Biles is one of the most recognized athletes in the world. Coco Gauff's rise in tennis has inspired a whole new generation. But for every win, there's still the same problem. Women athletes getting paid a fraction of what their male counterparts earn. And it's not just about pay, it's about coverage. It's about respect. It's about investment. That's what makes this WNBA standoff so important. If the players win this fight, they won't just change their own league, they could reset expectations for all women's sports. Clark's generation grew up watching Serena, watching Ronda Rousey, and watching Megan Rapinoe. They've seen what success can look like, but they've also seen how short the system often falls. So now, they're refusing to settle. What happens if the players strike? Let's break down the real possibilities. First scenario, the league and players come to an agreement before the 2025 season starts. Maybe the WNBA agrees to a 20 to 25% salary increase, better travel conditions, and improved medical support. That would be a win if both sides can sell the compromise to their base. Second scenario, the players walk, they go on strike, and the 2025 season is canceled or delayed. This would be a huge gamble. It could send a message that forces the WNBA to finally put real money on the table. But it could also scare off casual fans. It could lead to sponsors pulling back, and the league might not recover if momentum drops off. Third scenario, the talks stall, and the season starts under a cloud of unresolved tension. Players show up, but morale is low. Engagement drops. Media coverage focuses on the dispute, not the game. This is the slow bleed option, and arguably just as dangerous as a full strike. No matter what happens, one thing is clear. The league is on the clock. And with Clark stepping into her role as both star and activist, there's no turning back. What can fans do? So where does that leave the rest of us? What can you do? Start by supporting the players. Buy tickets. Stream the games. Follow the WNBA on social media. Every dollar and every click sends a message that people care. Next, stay informed. Don't just scroll past the headlines, read the fine print. Learn what's actually in the collective bargaining proposal. Understand why the players are upset. And most importantly, amplify their voices. When Caitlin Clark calls the deal disgraceful, share that. When veterans speak out, highlight their words. The WNBA doesn't just survive on TV money. It survives on community. And that's where fans matter most. Before we wrap, let's take a second to recognize what Caitlin Clark and her teammates are actually doing here. They're not just fighting for money. They're fighting for freedom. Freedom to stay in the US during the off-season, instead of chasing overseas contracts just to make ends meet. Freedom to have proper healthcare, safe travel, and long-term security. Freedom to be taken seriously as professional athletes. Because they are. The truth is, the WNBA isn't on the brink of collapse. It's on the brink of change. And change isn't comfortable. It's loud, it's messy, it causes friction. But that friction, that's how progress gets made. So whether or not the players strike, whether or not the league gives in, what's happening now is historic. Do you think Caitlin Clark was right to call the deal disgraceful? Should the players strike to force the league's hand, or is that too risky? And what will it take for women's sports to finally get the investment they deserve? Let us know in the comments. If you learned something new in this video, drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and share it with someone who needs to hear this story. Because the next chapter of women's basketball, you're watching it unfold right now.